How much do MotoGP riders get paid? I'm going to break this video down into a lot of different sections, from their wages, bonus payments, energy drink sponsorships, to some extracurricular activities that you might not be aware that MotoGP riders do in their spare time. So stay tuned to the end to find out exactly what that is. If you're new to this channel, my name is Taylor McKenzie. I used to race professionally and now I manage a team in the Moto3 Championship. I recorded this video yesterday and didn't switch the mic on, so this is take 2 of how much MotoGP riders get paid. And thankfully for me, my hay fever is off the chart today and my nose is blocked, so you've got that to deal with too. So the first section of this is their wage for the season, and it varies from rider to rider. In this video I'm going to have 2 different counters. So at the top of the screen I'll give you the riders right at the front of MotoGP, and at the bottom I'll give you riders towards the back and what each rider could expect to roughly earn. I don't know these figures 100%, I'm going off guesstimations that I've heard through the paddock and information on the internet, but having been in lots of different paddocks over the years, I've got a rough idea of what I would imagine a racer like this would earn. So a motorcycle racer's wage would vary, obviously, from riders that are being paid to try and win the championship to other riders that have just been given the opportunity to be in the championship. Motorcycle wages are also different to a normal 9 to 5 job. A lot of the time, riders are paid in instalments during the year. So you might have a contract that's split into 5 payments throughout the year. You might get one when you first start the season, one after the testing, one after 3 or 4 races, and so on. It might be that it's broken down into 11 payments from January when the season starts to November. It might be that you're just paid race by race. So every time you do a race and finish it, you get paid for that race. It really varies, every contract's different, and that's why it's quite difficult to put exact figures and numbers and hard facts on this, because I don't see the riders' contracts and I'm just going off my own experiences and things that I've heard from within the paddock. So a rider's wage, how much are they getting paid? That is the big question, and there's no way of knowing 100%. It's only rumours that we hear within the paddock. But as they say, there's no smoke without fire, and from what I've been told and understand within the paddock, riders towards the back are currently earning still a 6-figure salary. It might be 100,000 euros, it might be 250,000 euros. Reportedly, they're on around 250,000 euros at the back end of MotoGP. Towards the front, reportedly, they're 10 million euros upwards. It might be 10 million, 15 million, 20 million, 25 million. I really don't know. I've heard of mid-pack riders in MotoGP getting between 4 and 6 million euros for the season. And again, it depends on the rider. It might be a rider that's right at the front of the championship. Quartararo would be a good example, that initially he was given a leg up into the championship. So although he was finishing at the front in his first season, he was on a rookie rider's wage. So it varies from year to year. People like Rossi and Marquez, there's rumours and reports on what their salaries are for the year. I don't know 100%, but I'm going to guess for a rider that was paid and employed to win the championship, they would be earning between 10 and 20 million euros for the season from the team alone. The next section of this video is rider bonuses, and bonuses again vary from team to team and rider to rider, but the way the contract is weighted for each rider is different. So it's likely that a rider that is employed to win the championship is paid a higher salary and less bonuses. Percentage-wise, their bonuses might still be bigger than someone at the back of the championship, but the majority of their salary will, for the year, will come from what they're paid in their instalments and not from the bonuses. The bonuses are just a nice add-on to their contract if they do well. However, riders at the back of the championship, it might be that their contract percentage-wise is more weighted towards bonuses, and the reason they do that is the team is sort of taking a chance with that rider. They don't know exactly where they're going to finish. But if they do perform and they do well, then they get paid for it. So it's kind of just like getting paid for the work that you've done. They don't expect you to finish in those positions, but if you do, then you get paid more money to warrant the extra effort and the results you've got the team. It also means if that rider is finishing further up the field, the team's getting more exposure for their sponsors, and it means the next year they can then use that to sell to other sponsors because they're getting more media coverage over the year. So it's kind of a win-win for the team and rider, and that's why riders towards the back are normally paid bigger bonuses than their salary to try and bump up their wage for the year. The next section is personal sponsors, and again, every rider is different. There's no hard and fast rules for what they do and don't get. But if you look at some of the factory teams, for instance, so let's take Ducati for an example, or Yamaha, they'll have a big title sponsor across the chest of the leathers, and that is the person that's putting in the most money into the team. They're funding all the costs within the team. What then happens is, I'm sure you've seen on riders' leathers, they have smaller badges up here. Normally there's one for your helmet sponsor, there's one for an oil sponsor potentially for the team, lots of little secondary sponsors for the team. When you're a rider that's paid a lot of money, normally what happens is you're not allowed any of that space to sell for yourself. And the reason for that is the team need that space to put money into the team to pay you your wage. What sometimes happens is as you move further down the field, that space is given to the rider for them to sell themselves to bump their own wage up. So it's kind of like the rider does the work for the team in finding their own money to pay their wages. You'll see some riders like Marquez, I haven't checked his suit recently, but I'd imagine he has Estrella Galicia on his suit or one of his own personal sponsors. He might get 1 or 2 patches on his chest, you might get 1 or 2 patches on your arm. He'll definitely be allowed somewhere for his helmet sponsor. I don't know why, that's just always been the case in racing. People have had their helmet sponsor on their chest too. I guess it's because in your interviews you don't have your helmet on, so you need to see the helmet branding somewhere. And the personal sponsorship can equate to quite a lot of money. So if we take your leathers alone, I really don't know what a MotoGP rider can charge for a patch on their leathers, but I would imagine it definitely wouldn't be less than 20,000 euros. It's more like 50,000 euros, potentially 100,000 euros. It may even be more than that. I really don't know the answer to that. But these spaces are prime real estate. They're on TV all the time. Every time the rider gets interviewed, it's publicised to the world media. So they're really valuable spots that the rider's allowed to sell on their leathers, and that can bump up the rider's wage. Sometimes the way contracts work, riders are permitted to sell that space to a sponsor, but they have to give the team a percentage of the money that they bring in from that sponsor. So I've seen that quite a lot too, which then moves you on to your helmet. And helmets generally are left more to the rider to sell. So your helmet is your own piece of branding. That's why you see a lot of energy drink sponsors on riders' helmets, because they have personal energy drink sponsorship deals. On the subject of energy drink sponsorships, although some riders do have personal deals, sometimes it's also built into the contract that if the energy drink is sponsoring the team, it has to also go on the rider's helmet. And they may not actually get paid for that, it's just included in their wage. So sometimes you'll see riders with energy drink sponsors and they're not actually getting any extra money for that. It's just money that goes into the team and then they have to display it on their helmet. You will then see other random sponsors from kitchen companies to lawnmower services to oil companies. I've seen everything on motorbike helmets. I've even seen, I think Jack Kennedy is sponsored by some kind of rat trap or rat poisoning agency. So it really doesn't matter where the money comes from. Generally, a lot of these sponsors are motorsport enthusiasts that just want to have some kind of involvement in racing. It might be they're a family friend or they've sponsored the rider for a lot of years. They come in all shapes and sizes. It might be in MotoGP that they're bigger companies that are looking to get their brand out there. Now, on your helmet, you have lots of different space available. You'll see in MotoGP, they tend to have less sponsors, unless you're Zarco, who seems to pimp his helmet out completely, because the companies are paying a lot more money for these spots and they want big chunks of the helmet to warrant the money they're putting in. So again, these deals are going to vary from rider to rider, and I couldn't put a figure on exactly how much a rider could earn from their helmet. I would imagine riders like Rossi and Marquez, it's in the millions how much money they're charging for spots on their helmet, and riders further down the ranks, I would imagine, again, I don't know 100%, but a sticker on their helmet isn't going to be on there for any less than 20,000 euros, I'd imagine. I would imagine it's a lot more than that. It could be 50,000 euros, 100,000 euros. So I'm going to say at the top end for a MotoGP rider, they're going to earn an extra 5 million euros from their helmet. It's a very ballpark figure, and I don't have any hard facts to back that up. They're just guesses. And I'm going to guess a rider towards the back of the grid is going to earn between 100,000 euros for the helmet in any random company that appears on there. Now, another way a rider can earn money is in personal appearance fees, and personal appearances differ from every team. If you take a factory team, for example, you'll notice someone like Marc Marquez appears in all parts of the world. One minute he's in Malaysia, the next minute he's in Indonesia, and then he's doing a press event in Italy. It could be anywhere. You see Ducati appear on mountain slopes at points. I think Marquez has even done a video on the snow too. And the way these deals are normally worked is that at the start of the year, when they agree their contract, they have to do a certain amount of personal appearances as part of their deal. And the personal appearances may already be included in the cost of what they're getting paid. So they might not get any extra money for doing these events, but all their expenses will be paid. They'll normally be given business class flights to go to these events. And that's why you see them appear there. It's not because they're going for the love of the sport, it's because it's in their contract that they want to, or they have to go and do these days. So again, I'd say riders at the front is probably built into their contract that they have to do these days. It might be riders towards the back have to do 1 or 2 days, they might have to do 5 days. It might be that there's a cap on the amount of days that they do. So it might say in their contract they have to do 5 days, for example, but anything over that, they get paid X amount per day. And I don't know what a MotoGP rider would charge for a day, but if you're earning 10 million euros, 20 million euros, 5 million euros, I don't think you're going to get out of bed for less than €1,000 a day. I'd imagine it'd be a lot more than that. So I can't put a figure on that, but I would say that a lot of these days that you see riders doing are actually included in their contract anyway, and they're not earning extra money for doing those days. There's probably MotoGP riders going to end up watching this video laughing that I'm quite close with my figures or I'm completely out. If you are one of those riders and you want to message me saying I was completely wrong, please do let me know. I hope I'm not overhyping this video. I'm just trying to give you genuine ideas because there's a lot of information on the internet and a lot of it is speculation, but I do have friends within the paddock that would point me in the right direction, so I hope I'm not too far out. We'll move on to the next section. So the next section is brand partnerships, and these are things like your leather deal, your helmet deal, and they come in all shapes and sizes. You'll see riders with watches on. It sort of links into the personal sponsorship, but it's separate as well because these are products that the riders are using. So leather deals, as far as I'm aware, normally pay less than helmet deals. I don't know the reason for that, but they just seem to pay less. Leather deals for riders towards the front of the championship are upwards of €750,000 for one season to wear those leathers. I think there could be more than that. I think it could be closer to the million or further on than that. Riders towards the lower end of the championship are still getting paid 6 figures for their leather deal for the year. It might be €100,000, it might be €200,000, but there's no rider, as far as I'm aware, in MotoGP that isn't earning a big chunk of money from their leathers for the season. And again, without seeing riders' contracts, you don't know for definite, but that as a ballpark figure, I'm going to give the guy at the back €150,000, and I'm going to give the guy at the front €1 million for his leather deal. Which moves us on to the next section, which is your helmet deal. And you'll see riders obviously have to have a helmet for the season, and it's a very important part of your riding kit, and it's something that's promoted in every single picture that's ever taken of you on a motorbike. So they can charge a lot for that, because the other benefit to sponsoring a MotoGP rider is it gives the brand huge status, I'd say, because if you've got a MotoGP rider wearing your helmet, it proves that it's a good product. It's tested to the absolute maximum. Nobody goes faster than these guys and hits their head harder than these guys. So it's really good advertising for these companies. And again, I've heard of helmet deals that are €1 million and up. I'm going to give the guy at the front €1 million for his helmet, and I'm going to give the guy at the back €200,000 for his helmet. Without knowing for definite, I don't know, but as a ballpark figure, I think that's what roughly riders are paid. The next part of this is brand and product sponsorship. So you'll see riders now appearing on brand new bicycles, they've got brand new cars, they've got all sorts of cool things going on. And although some of it may be stuff that they've bought, I'd imagine if they've got a supercar, they've bought that themselves, but If it's something like a brand new bicycle and they're publicising it on their social media, it's likely that they got given that for free and were also paid some money to promote it. So again, I can't put figures on these because I don't know what people are paid to ride bicycles these days, but I'm just going to add in the fact that you might get a free bicycle, you might get a free car. It might be that your Honda lawnmower broke down and you needed a new lawnmower, so you got that. It might be you ride for Yamaha and you wanted a jet ski and you got a jet ski. That's quite commonplace, more so in the past. I know in the 80s and 90s, riders, if they rode for Honda, naming no names, Neil Mackenzie, got a lawnmower. Riders are also given a motocross bike for the year. If you ride for KTM or Yamaha or Honda, they get motocross bikes for the year. They might need one in Spain, they might need one in the UK, and they're given bikes for those countries. So I think MotoGP riders get in the region of between 2 and 4 motocross bikes for the year if they want them, because they might need one for motocross, they might need one for flat track, they might need one for supermoto, and I'm pretty sure they'll get given those for free. They might not get to keep them, they might have to give them back at the end of the year, but yeah, there's a lot of cool product deals that are piggybacked onto the back of being a MotoGP rider. So you might be wondering, how does all this money get paid? Are the riders on a salary with the team? Are they working a 9 to 5 job and getting a pay slip at the end, or do they invoice for it, or do they have companies, or are they living in Panama or somewhere? In my experience, I'm self-employed. I've always been self-employed, and you just are effectively a contractor. So you do a job, you send an invoice for it, and you get paid. So I mentioned at the start of this video about extracurricular activities that you may or may not have seen. And as the presence of MotoGP has grown, it's grown into a much bigger brand, and that's given riders the ability to grow themselves as brands effectively and use the money that they're earning to grow into other areas outside of racing. So one person I've noticed is Aleix Espargaro at the minute. I think he has a sushi restaurant. He's also got an Italian restaurant that's linked to him. And there's all these other clever ways that people are now using money to grow their presence and earn more money on top of their racing. So again, I can't put a figure on how much he's earning out of his sushi restaurant. He might not be earning anything, I don't know. But if you keep your eyes open to it, you'll see riders now earning money outside of racing in other ways. And the other reason that riders do that is because your racing is such a short career. Although what I'm telling you is amazing, and these riders are getting paid huge amounts of money and it's fantastic, and the MotoGP riders, if they're sensible with their money, are going to be set for life. But riders outside of that, myself included in this, your racing career is very, very short. Mine was obviously shorter than most would expect it to be. But even if you start earning money at the age of 24 from racing, which if you do, you're doing amazingly well, and you can earn money to 35 or 40 say, that's 15 years of earning money, and when you get to the 15th year and you stop, that's it, done. There's no, oh, I'll carry on paying you because we feel sorry for you. That's it. Your career is such a short window. So in the lower ranks of racing, it's even more important that you sort of have to keep one eye on the future and look for other ways to make money. So in the hope that when they do stop racing, they've got something else to keep them busy with and something that they've sort of built up alongside their racing that they can earn money out of. So I can't put a figure on extracurricular activities because some riders don't do anything, they just have their racing career, other riders do. But I think it's time for the grand total. So if we add up everything, the one thing I haven't included in this cost is the bonus payments. So bonuses, a bit like crash damage in the cost of MotoGP. If you haven't seen the cost of MotoGP video, you'll see it at the end of this video. You can watch that. It's an unknown. You don't know how much you're going to earn. You might break your leg at the first test and not earn anything because you've had a bad season. You might have a season like Quartararo in his first year of MotoGP, where I'm sure he fully exceeded his expectations. So I don't know the bonuses that riders get in MotoGP. Again, I'm going to hazard a guess that a MotoGP rider, if they win a race, is getting 50,000 euros. It might be more than that. I would say if a rider wins the championship, it's in the millions of how many euros they could win. I'm going to use Quartararo as an example. I hope he doesn't watch this and think that I'm an idiot, but I'm going to guess that he could earn over €1 million if he wins the championship. I'm going to say 2 million. It might be 5 million by the time you've included all your helmet deal, leather deal. A lot of those will pay you bonuses as well if you win the championship. So I'm going to say the rider can earn €5 million if they win the championship at the front of MotoGP. If you're at the back, you might get bonuses for the top 3, you might get bonuses for finishing in the top 5 in a race, you might get bonuses in the top 10. You might get a bonus for scoring points. I can tell you that in my contract when I raced in 125cc, if I won a race I got €5,000, if I finished second I got 4, if I finished third I got 3, 2 and €1,000 for finishing 5th. I had 1 5th place, so I won €1,000, and that money obviously will total up over the season. That's me in a little small 125 team, so I think if I'm getting €5,000 to win a 125 race in 2011, I'm going to say that a MotoGP rider is at least getting €50,000 to win a race. It might be more than that. By the time they've added in all their other deals, like the helmet deal and leather deal, which will probably pay them bonuses too. So, over the course of the season, the guy at the front is going to win quite a few races. He might win 5 races, he might win 10 races, and then obviously he's got all his bonuses for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. So let's say in bonuses, the guy at the front is going to earn €750,000 for all his finishes during the year, and then if he wins the championship, he's going to earn €5 million. So we'll make it a round figure, we'll say it's €6 million for the season in bonuses. I could be completely wrong, that is a complete guess, but it's my best guess going off my 125 contract and what I've heard in the paddock. The guy at the back of the championship is going to earn less in bonuses because he's not going to win as many races, but he might have a podium in a wet race, he might have finished 3rd and grabbed himself €25,000 or €10,000 for 3rd, and during the course of the season he got a few bonuses for finishing 10th and in the top 10, so I'm going to guess he could earn up to €100,000 in bonuses if he has a really good season. So I've now completely lost track of how much this is, but luckily for you there's a total here for the guy at the back of the championship and a total here for the guy at the front of the championship. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please subscribe and like the video because it really helps me out, and I'll be back next week with another video.